This is Night Striker, a 1989 game by Taito and ported to the Sega Saturn. Much later, of course. It's a Space Harrier style game where instead of playing a guy on a jetpack, you are in a car that can also fly. There's something extremely 80s about this. And there's something very 90s about this really rough CG intro you get here on the Saturn version. It's funny, you know, when I played these mid-90s releases that have these CG intros and whatnot, it's amazing how graphics that we render on our game systems now in real time just completely put this stuff to shame. But hey, how many games now feature a flying car? Or a great soundtrack by the Taito sound crew Utada, for that matter. So this has the usual hokey plot, city attacking terrorism group who do not know proper tenses. But you know, let's stop obsessing about the intros and writing and whatnot, and let's see how the game actually plays. Okay, now we're in-game, and you can see immediately that it looks like a late 80s arcade game.
Stand by ready. Good luck.
Now, there were a lot of games from this era that play like this, that are these back view, chase view, shoot 'em up games. Awkward Jack or Burning Force, whatnot. You know, old games like Lock On. Not very many of them are remembered, and this is one of the games that kind of falls through the cracks. And it's not because it's not good. You know, I think it just never was as groundbreaking as something like Space Harrier, which artistically and honestly graphically really just kind of kills this game. But where Night Striker succeeds is in the gameplay department, and that's where it counts. This game has a lot of variety, and I have to be honest here, I love Space Harrier. But about halfway through the game, I start getting a bit bored because it just doesn't change things up a whole lot. Night Striker, on the other hand, has kind of become my go-to game. It has so much more variety. There's tunnels and factories and just all kinds of stuff going on in this game. And one of the things I like about Night Striker is you get to pick your path, much like Darius. And that's one of the things that makes me really want to play this game over and over. You know, they do reuse scenery, like there's more than one factory level, for instance, but the enemy patterns do change up depending on which one you go to. I don't like the loading, though, between levels in the Saturn version. It kind of interrupts the flow of the game. You know, I don't know why they couldn't just spend more time in the tunnel. Here you have a canal level with all these pipes you have to dodge, much like the old Star Wars arcade game. Now, if I have one complaint about Night Striker, it's that it's way too easy. I'm playing this on very hard mode, and I haven't played this for a while, and I managed to still get a 1 credit clear on the game. You know, that means I never continued, and I still beat the entire game. Now, you can make things more difficult. You know, the shield setting is medium, so I get a couple more shields between each level, and you can set that lower, which I really recommend. If you're going to pick this game up, please play it on the hardest possible setting, because it's just not that hard of a game. But I find it to be a very entertaining game. Now, I think part of the reason the game is easy, I believe this is actually based on the Sega CD version. So you've got stuff like, if I remember the arcade version correctly, the missile launchers in the tunnels, for example, fired heat-seeking missiles, and these are kind of strange. They kind of, you know, fire straight at you in a very odd way. One thing that's kind of amusing that I wanted to share with you is a weird issue when you use the analog controller with the Saturn. Now, this game supports the mission stick, but it doesn't support the UFO Nights into Dreams controller, and so when you press down all the way, you can actually go through the floor on these in-between tunnel stages. I love this cover too. It's like, how many things can we possibly rip off at the same time? We've got the Terminator, we've got a Coca-Cola ad, on the lower left is Off-World, like Off-World Colonies from Blade Runner. And you can kind of add Knight Rider onto the heap of influences there too. Wait, if I'm the good guy, why am I blowing the crap out of this temple? Yeah. I don't think a lot of thought was given to the particular level themes and how they would relate to the plot. You know, they just pick stuff like temples or factories or whatever, you know, because they're fun in video game mechanics kinds of ways. And that's one of my favorite kinds of game designs. You know, do stuff for the game's sake, not for a plot. Like I said before, one thing that keeps me coming back to the game are the branching paths. And one thing that does help that too is that on every last level you transform into another craft. You know, so this one is the Jetpack, and I can't remember what the other ones are. I think one of them you get a spread shot. It's pretty cool. Yep, gotta collect them all. You might notice here that this is Daytime Striker. Well, this is actually a Saturn exclusive mode with all new levels that are much harder and much more challenging, where every end of level boss is actually one of the end of game bosses. And it's I feel like this is actually a great addition to the game, because the main arcade port is really just kind of a cakewalk, and although you don't get to choose your levels in this one, it's completely linear, I really appreciate the addition. Yeah, look, it's already this hectic, and it's still the first level. Just look at how much harder the tunnel level is, you know, compared to on my first run. This game has a lot of moodiness to it, which is, you know, pretty much what you expect from Taito in the late 80s and early 90s. You know, they put out some very artsy stuff like Furious Gaiden and Metal Black. And I think an awful lot of that is owed to the soundtrack. And unfortunately, there's no arranged soundtrack on this, which it could have used, because although the compositions are really good, the FM synthesizer usage is actually really tinny. However, this game gets a lot right that some other chase-you shoot-em-ups get completely wrong. It controls well, the shots are very visible, and it's easy to see when you might be hit by them. Even when they're guided missiles, which in some chase-you shoot-em-up games you get surprised by in a kind of an unfair way. You know, when you think you're safe and then it just turns into you at the last second. You are about to see what happens when you don't dodge a guided missile correctly. Yeah, no surprises there. You know, that was clear as day.